What's up, everyone? Welcome back. We got ZP and Jake on the mic for the next one as we get ready for North America to take the stage. ZP, where are we at globally right now? Has NA passed EU?
Right now, I would say maybe not, but it's hard to say because both these regions have very different takes on what is good and what is bad. And there's times where I think NA has actually been ahead of EU. Case in point, NA was using the Geist before EU was. Then EU kind of woke up today and who thought, you know what? Geist is pretty good. I should run the Geist. So I think the reality is right now, both regions may take from each other. But in terms of raw mechanical prowess, EU might be a little bit ahead right now.
Jake, as we take a look at the format, we should remind everybody this is the second half of the show. We just finished with Abraham's taking their 5th championship for EU in a row. NA has had their own juggernaut. They would go by the name of the Melee Creeps recently, and Sneaky Golem was kind of expected to be in their position. How long before Sneaky Golem retakes the throne?
I mean, tonight's the night. Maybe that's what Sneaky Golem are hoping for, right? They've made some changes to the roster, bringing back some old names and kind of resurrecting a bit of the Hydra Nation. Look, this might have been a Hydra Nation roster at some point in the past. And so they really want to beat Melee Creeps. And Melee Creeps, though, have been dominant. They've been kind of dealing with all comers. And in NA right now, the top 3 teams are all competitive. I mean, Bunny with Clock has been taking maps off Melee Creeps as well. So even the challenger match is far from free. It's far from assured because it's been BWC consistently coming into that money match and taking the challenge to Melee Creeps. Sneaky Golem has been on the outside looking in, and they're hoping to change that this week, but it won't be easy.
Sneaky Golem was able to win 3 straight. Then it was Melee Creeps back at number 30. They took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks in a row. Looking for lucky number 7 tonight. We have to wait for that matchup a little bit later, but we do know we have our match ready in the challenger scene. Sneaky Golem versus Bunny with Clock. This should be a good one. Some household names. Let's get into it with the roster, Z-Pizzle. Who are we liking so far for Sneaky Golem?
Well, a big one here is that in terms of players that are coming back, Lord NM is back into the fray. Obviously, last time I think we saw Lord NM was he was on Drifter. Chat was being a little bit mean. Actually, I think it was Vegas who started like the Lord No Mo chant or something. There was a back and forth. But look, Sneaky Golem did their scrims behind the scenes, said, nope, we want Lord NM back. And it was going to be Leffa back today, but Leffa decided at the last moment, vibes aren't right for me right now, and backed out. So they have Zerbzy in. So effectively, it is Goober and League are gone. Lord NM and Zerbzy are added back in. And for Sneaky Golem, they feel like this is going to be the right mix to take down Bunny with Clock, get back into the money match here tonight.
All right, that is Sneaky Golem, our one-time champion. They won 3 weeks in a row after Hydration joined up with Rocker Squad on the other side of the matchup here in our first to 1. It's Bunny with Clock. We got Gibbs. Aiden the Destroyer may be my favorite player on this roster to watch, though. Does he get his Vindicta tonight? That is the big question. Round out the rest of this roster for me, though. What do we think about this squad, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, I think across the board, they're pretty solid. Arctic has looked great. And then Aiden, I mean, even when he's not on the Vindicta, like he's looked amazing on the Mina too. So definitely curious to see where the meta ends up taking us. But Arctic, I think, looks amazing on the Mirage. I think he's definitely going to be hoping to grab that hero. But then Tanner and Coolchi is playing some of these like frontliners, higher tempo choices, roaming, setting up pickoffs. They've been solid and they've been a big part of the reason Bunny with Clock goes far. You can't just have like your core players be super dominant carries. You need to have the rest of the team setting up those fights. And that's where Gibbs, Coolchies, and Tanner have really been coming in and paying dividends on this squad. So definitely I'm excited to see what they're going to bring. Bunny with Clock, they've been a mainstay. I mean, 3 times in a row, they've had a shot at Melee Creeps. They have fallen all 3 times though. So you got to think maybe that starts to wear on you as a team. I mean, will Bunny with Clock continue to put up these big performances week in, week out when Sneaky Golem's the team with, I think, a little bit more emphasis on changing and developing so that they can even get a chance in that money match?
Guess who's spamming Lord No Mo in the chat right now, ZP?
Yeah, I just saw it. Never misses an opportunity, it seems. But I mean, look, in fairness to Lord NM, they did have a lot of success with him on the roster. And I mean, also, if he does play Mo, a really good Mo player, a veteran of the scene back and forth. And sometimes when you're trying to put together a team roster, you're looking for the right mix of comms, vibes, etc. And we'll see if that is it here for Sneaky Golem today. All the intermediate beefs aside at NA. But look, all in all, I'm excited to see where how they go about this here, because I've had troubles with Bunny with Clock. And for me, if I'm Sneaky Golem going to the draft, I look for ways to deny the comfort picks from Bunny with Clock, because I think Bunny with Clock is more susceptible to getting crushed a little in the draft phase, because I don't think they're quite as deep as Sneaky Golem is overall.
I hope they prove you wrong today. But so far, you're not wrong, ZP. Let's take a look here at our draft when it's ready to roll. Sneaky Golem taking on Bunny with Clock. First to one is advancing to our NA championship match against Melee Creeps, which will be a best of 3. The band so far today, a lot of Mirage, started involving some Wraith after seeing some games. Where do the NA boys put their priorities? Sneaky Golem up first.
Big mistake.
Well,
sorry, Aiden.
Instant Vin ban. Not gonna give it over to Aiden. So I mean, I do think Vindicta has been a popular band in NA. Just the tempo she offers, the being able to roam into early game team fights and have a really ridiculous amount of follow up damage is a bit of a problem as far as dealing with the opponent roams in the mid lane. And BWC are gonna take away the Geist. So 2 of a very popular NA picks already banned out. So we're gonna see something new and different here from both teams. Sneaky Golem. I mean, Wraith and Mirage both on the cards here. Do they want to power them, or do they go with something more like the Shiv or the Billy?
They're going to go with the Shiv. And then also, Jake, as I look at that, I think that's a bit of a mistake in terms of the bans, because I think Sneaky Golem was going to go Shiv no matter what. I think given the fact that Pashi loves playing Lady Geist, banning the Geist here was, I think, a little bit preemptive. I don't think it was going to get first pick by Sneaky Golem, and I think there's a real chance Bunny with Clock would have been able to come back in, grab the Geist +1, Geist plus Billy would be good. At this point, I do kind of feel like they may. It's a hard call. Do you go Abrams and secure the front line, or do you give up Wraith? I think that's actually the really big dilemma you have right now with the second pick.
I mean, Wraith is good, but I think Mirage is also really good. So I feel like, I mean, in the end, I don't actually love, unless maybe you're worried Sneaky Golem would grab both on their next 2 picks, so maybe you do need to secure one of them now. But Sneaky Golem almost certainly going to take a Wraith here. And then the question in my mind is, like, what do they follow it up with? Maybe they could. Okay, they go Abrams. I would be surprised if this is not now a Wraith, but Abrams Wraith makes a ton of sense to me. Abrams Shiv, I think, has a pretty good matchup into the Billy, like working together to just overwhelm him when he commits into the front line. It's not so easy for him to, come out of that unscathed.
Also, I don't know where the 1v1 went. I did link over the 1v1. I don't know if there was another issue, but it was Sneaky Golem who won it. So they're the ones that chose first pick, and it put them in the spot now to pick up Shiv, Abrams, Wraith. And Jake, from what we've been seeing so far in the meta, to me, I'm looking at this, and I mean, don't get me wrong, Billy Mirage, it's not bad, but Shiv, Abrams, Wraith, like, I'm leaning a little bit towards Sneaky Golem here already.
Bennett's Clock going to grab the Warden. I mean, this is where the Geist ban makes a little bit more sense, right? Because Warden typically has a bad matchup there, but maybe Warden could be pretty dominant into this front line, like Abrams and Shiv. These are the heroes Warden wants to be fighting against as a carry, right? Heroes that he can just get on top of, stay on top of in the close range, and overwhelm where other carries might be more on the back foot. But now, second stage bans is going to be the Kelvin taken away from Sneaky Golem, and Sneaky Golem their chance to respond with the second ban of their own. It's gonna be the Page. So both, I mean, denying the Shiv Kelvin, maybe it's fallen off a little bit, but still denying it, and same for the Billy Page. So neither of these heavy frontliner first picks is gonna get their dream lane partner.
Yeah, and I'm thinking back to the Warden. Like last week, we saw Pashi take on a different take on Warden, where it was a really fast spell slinger rush, which I don't think is bad. I actually think Warden, is one of the few heroes in the game that can really make use of it. Interesting, though, in terms of hero bans. Like, you think about Lord and M being back on the roster for Sneaky Golem. Big heroes for him historically are Lash, are Mo and Krill. Mo and Krill hasn't been as often picked, but, for a meta where oftentimes you pick heroes that you're comfortable on, I actually think the Lash was a pretty good pick here from Bunny with Clock just to get that out of the way. What I'm wondering here, though, is what is Aiden going to play? The Vindicta got taken out early. Mina has usually been a go-to here for Bunny with Clock. So with Dorman now getting taken by Sneaky Golem, which again, might be a Lord and M hero. That's where, certain floor man memes came from. I'm curious if Bunny with Clock ends up going the Mina here, because it's, to me, just wondering what's Aiden going to play.
Yeah, I mean, Mina would, it's not being contested here. I think they're most happy to let it through. And yeah, Aiden is going to grab that. I think it makes sense, right? Get Aiden something where he can be really effective, he can be dominant. And I do think it's pretty light on catch here for Sneaky Golem. At least they have the Wraith lift to help maybe like supplement that. But curious if Paradox and Holiday, Bebop, I mean, there's only 2 slots left, but I feel like those are the heroes I expect to see. If Paradox goes to Bunny with Clock, now for me, it's got to be Holiday or Bebop, right? Like, I just can't see any other hero really getting picked here. And honestly, I'm not sure what's better. I also think Bebop Bebop's nice into Lash, and I think it actually can be nice against a lot of these heroes. So I wouldn't mind the Bebop, but they do go Mo.
Ooh. Yeah, and that's got to be for Lord NM in all likelihood. So it's not going to be Lord NM on the Doorman. And okay, with Mo, you get a little bit of catch, but it's not the same level of catch. Like you have a good amount of threat, especially in the early mid game of Mo just running at you. But where you really feel the difference between like Mo and like a Holiday or Paradox, it's in the mid to late game when teams get in these standoffs and people are generally together. The Mo is not on the same level as the other three primary playmakers to make things happen. So for Sneaky Golem in a way here, Jake, they're almost hoping to get an early to mid game lead and then just kind of ride that until Wraith and Shiv become monsters effectively. He's back.
Which could be realistic, right? In this type of game. Also for Mirage, I actually don't mind the Mo matchup into Mirage because Mirage kind of wants to be doing these cheeky split pushes on the side lane, and you do have great tools to get on top of him, right? If you can just lock him down with a combo when he's TPing or the Wraith lift when he's TPing, you have enough of these hard stuns where I don't think the TP out is going to feel that consistent, and it might limit Mirage's ability to threaten the side lanes. And on the flip side, I think Wraith actually is going to have a pretty easy time at that. Like, Lash isn't the best catch for me for Wraith, in general. Like it's not that easy to Death Slam her. She can just blink away. And Paradox can be decent, but is not, for me, is at least like not the most survivable hero to fight with the Wraith in the side lane. So I think both teams are trying to deal with each other's carries, but also present a lineup that can actually go the distance, go down the stretch, and still be really strong. Notably, I think a little bit light on like major mid contest ultimates. I mean, it's basically just Yamato, but with Paige and Kelvin being banned, I feel like mid bosses could get really chaotic in this game.
He goes by the name of Jake Overwatch. You can follow him over on the Twitter sphere or listen to him here. It's Aiden on the Mina for Bunny with Clock. Let's get it going. ZP on the mic.
All right, Jake, we'll see how this one goes down. Sneaky Golem, this has probably been the longest stretch that this core has been without success, if you think about it, where they've really been tested by, not one, but two different teams in EU. And usually this core is able to swing things around by like week 3 or 4 and regain the championship. But this has been the longest drought they've ever had, I would say.
Yeah, and this is a test for players, right? It's like, do you have the stick-to-itiveness as a team to go through a hard time and stay together? And so far, they've passed that test, right? They're still here. They're back every week. They're contesting. They're playing hard for it. But Bunny with Clock has been denying them, has been asserting themselves as really that top 2 team in North America. And so it's been Sneaky Golem on the outside looking in. And this is, I think, maybe after this roster change is one of their best chances yet to maybe actually start to turn that back around and bring the form that we're used to from these Sneaky Golem players.
I didn't really touch on it in the draft, but getting Yamato is also huge. I mean, you talk about comfort picks, but Xeno on the Yamato, it doesn't get more classic than that. The one case where you talk about the NA versus EU, a lot of people would say that Xeno would have a claim to being, at one point, best Yamato in the world, right? So, honestly, I like this draft a lot more for Sneaky Golem, not because I think it's a better draft in general, but also the fact that I think they just got a lot of their players onto things that they really like playing. Like, the most person off their norm is AVG on the Wraith, realistically, because AVG used to be on the more frontliner things like Warden, as opposed to, a pure M1 carry. But, aside from that, everyone kind of got to where they wanted to be.
Yeah, Tanner and Cool Cheese getting a little bit of trade here, attacking some of these side camps, but I mean, Mo and Wraith is a bit of a classic lane. Like when you have their ultimates online, this is a really annoying lane to fight, right? You just get like double hard stun for 5-6 seconds. It's almost no way to fight this. As Mina fighting off way more than she could chew, just sticking around way too long, taking a trade while I believe Billy went for a box run there. So a pretty big miscommunication there from Bunny with Clock.
People need to do that more often. I think there's times right now where box runs get away effectively scot-free, and there are moments where if you recognize it at the right timing, you can just slam in the 2-on-1, and even if you don't get the kill, you get a big HP tax. But speaking of HP taxes, got a little bit of a slam down here from Gibbs, but immediately getting answered here by Rocker, laying in the knives and making Gibbs actually feel the worst for it.
Yeah, Rocker definitely punishing that one pretty hard, and Mirage sticking around to this, trying to get some stacks up, but this trade is not free, man. Trading with Shiv in close range. Shiv gets another dash up. Things could start to get scary. And I feel like Mirage is a hero that wants to not just get ahead early, but stay ahead in the lane. And some bad trades can really turn that around. Still a big death slam onto Rocker from Gibbs coming back into the lane just in time to deliver that real hurt. I mean, he's going to purge some of that off, but nonetheless, it's a lot of pressure on Shiv. He's going to put him on the back foot for a while.
Okay, so it was getting teased by NA that there's like changes in the meta for how people are handling the early game. Do you notice how a lot of early farm in the middle was given to Yamato and Morden respectively, while Abrams and Paradox just kind of went to the wayside? Look at the difference in mid lane. Yeah, just from boxing, but it's like a more intense form of boxing.
This is extreme. These guys are basically solo laning with somebody doing boxes.
Yes, like look at the allocation going on for both Zeno and Pashi. That is ridiculous. And I did get warned a little bit that the scrims are doing this, and I mean we'll see how effective it is. But that's a very early 3.7k respectively for Pashi into 4.1k and Zeno.
I will say, like, as good as EU has been, I feel like NA has been the region that's more willing to do some like really crazy stuff in terms of experimental economy strategy. Because I think Deadlock is a game that naturally pushes you to have a pretty split economy and to not really like, I mean, later in the game you can attribute more souls to like your carries, but early in the game it just doesn't feel that significant. But if you do this, if you're basically solo laning mid and having the other guy box farm, I mean, that's a way to really just juice up one player. And right now Zeno, when we talk about Yamato being a hero that comes out, like if you're a couple K souls up in the super early game, you can just run people down with your ulti. And that's already really what the game is looking like, despite this being, a relatively passive mid lane. So double kill in the side lane, that's not good.
Yeah, also nothing passive about that on the left-hand side. Middle lane, a little bit of peace. Left lane, all-out war between the Billy Mina dive. And I mean, truthfully, on the left lane, Wraith Mo, to me, is still a little bit more of a survival lane. The fact that they were able to get the early kill on the Aiden and make it a little bit more than that for a time, to me was overperforming, because Billy Mina realistically has way more tools to push you than you have tools to push them.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, I think it's a bit of an overstep from Sneaky Golem, because once they have their ults up, the kill threat is super crazy, right? Like even Billy, I don't think you're tanking through like a full combo into a Wraith lift. There's just so much damage, so much follow up, and no matter how tanky you are, I just don't think it's going to be enough into the double ulti. But now that Mina's pretty farmed, it's like, okay, are you really just going to hit Billy while Mina just unloads on you? It's not going to feel so easy anymore.
Right lane's turned into a bit of a brawl on all ends. You had Mirage just surviving between both Doorman and Shiv. Rocker and Zerbzy still diving pretty heavily on the right-hand side. I mean, that is deep in the Walker. They're stuck in the corridor right now, Jacob. Reading the mini-map right here as things get a little bit weird. You got Doorman up here on the side, still enough to punch down Arctic. And you got doors for the escape. Dive in behind the tower and make your own exit. Right into Lash, who's there, who instantly takes a trip to the Baroness.
Takes a lot of tower damage for that, though. And yeah, Lash should be out of this okay. Yeah, the follow-up's not there with Arctic coming back into the lane of the Mirage. They don't want to overstay their welcome. Tanner finds hydration, so a little bit of a roam into the mid lane. And despite the Guardians not being down, I feel like the place down in the mid lane does leave a lot of opportunities to roam into it. Still, the hydration is pretty self-sacrificial in this mid lane, so it's not the kill that really feels that impact. Well, here comes that combo onto Billy first, the lift for the follow-up, but Aiden is just deleting them here, farming with that ulti as they're trying to desperately get that one counter kill. They will find it, but Mo now in real trouble. It's gonna have a hard time playing his way out of this one. Yeah, with Mina and Paradox on the chase. Good luck.
Still always fun to see a little bit of good movement out of the Mo of all people. It's just like, yeah, the Mo has a bit of movement in him.
A little too high. I think he went up too high in the door out. So Rocker kills Arctic. Lash was just sleeping on it. And now with this door, yeah, they're both out. Billy and Lash. Door slammed in their face.
Specifically to the slams in the face, I feel like the Doorman escapes have just been incredible today, where Doorman play has gotten more and more comfortable on, yeah, you can use this ability to get out. It's no problem whatsoever. Just you see the punish come in, and before anything truly happens, they're gone. They're through the door, and with an audible click as the door shuts. It's great.
Slowing X picked up for Billy, so he definitely wants to get into some of these early game catch fights. Maybe they feel like they need that tool to just bridge those initial gaps, but Shiv now pushing it right back in the other way, and you got to be careful, man. Execute online. Billy's like couple spell combo into an execute, and he could just be knocked out of this one. 8 minutes coming, and Sinner's spawning, so there's going to be some objectives to fight over, and I think Shiv is going to be healthy and eager, really, to get into that kind of a trading engagement.
A little bit more Doorman setup. Looking on the left-hand side, and again, AVG shot in the back of the head. Courtesy of Aiden. It has been tough going for the Wraith so far. And you think about endgame win conditions, if you're Sneaky Golem, you're banking a lot more on Xeno right now because AVG has not had that good of a time in the left lane. I mean, you've had more of the kills go the way of your Mo, who has been in more of the supportive angle because the dive onto the Wraith has just been so decisive. And I mean, Wraith will catch up as time goes on, but this is really going to change the mid game. Is wait, we got the $1 tip in. We did it, Jake.
Wait, does that get us to 1337?
It got us to 1337, baby.
No one
We're
donated
there
anymore. This is the perfect prize pool.
Still donate though.
like actually, like the players would still like money.
That is true. That is true.
Is under attack.
Sneaky Golem now. I feel like this is a key moment in the game. Bunny with Clock have a lot of tempo heroes. They can get global with the Arctic TP in. They've got the Lash ult to force some early team fights. And I think Sneaky Golem may be needing to itemize a little bit before they really get fights going. And it's a double kill in the side lane for Tanner. Billy crashes his way through that side lane and defends the Guardian. Looks to maybe even get a counter Guardian take as it also drops here in the other side lane. So some really nice moments here for Bunny with Clock, and already not the best start for Sneaky Golem.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I think about the late game scaling here. If you're able to get AVG back online, and he just went, a bit of trouble here for Tanner. Getting hit on all ends. Xeno there on the finish. And over the top.
Armor Pulse, he's big on Xeno right now. He's got the gun and spirit spikes here. But Lash is just too quick, man. Can't chase the Lash.
At 12k, Xeno's an actual raid boss at the moment.
Yeah, that's true. He is kind of disgusting, but he needs to get active. He needs to find kills. And honestly, Bunny with Clock need to dodge him because he is the #1 threat on this lineup right now.
Of course, we're
just on the Mo ganking. I mean, this is perfect, right? This is what Mo does. You know, he doesn't have much farm, but he just enables Xeno to get some kills, a combo into some damage follow-up. This is exactly what Xeno's looking for. So if they can find some people with this gank squad, could be the start of turning this game around.
It brings me back to the beginning of the year where Aegis Aurora was able to get to the top of EU. You know, one part player that was probably cheating at the time, but also the part that wasn't was they were running Yamato Mo. Like, that Mo is one of the best enablers of really adding to a Yamato's ability to get kills and go from there. So, I mean, you know, you use Yamato Mo, it is a proven combo, even if we haven't seen it as much in recent times. So I do like the idea of, you know, getting a little bit of roam time between Xeno and Lord NM.
Yeah, real assault on the doubles there. Bunny with Clock. I mean, Tanner gets out with one, but I believe, yeah, Xerxes should have stolen the other. So advantage Sneaky Golem on how that trade went. Still the soul lead, a few thousand in favor of Bunny with Clock. This urn being brought, though, could change that, right? This is the key moment. Bunny with Clock want to open their lead further, but they're missing a couple key ultimates, like no Lash ultimate, Billy ultimate, just a little bit longer on CD. This won't be a free urn, and it looks exactly like Sneaky Golem are posturing to fight this one. ABG happily farming the opposite side of the map, but it's going to be a 5-on-5 here.
Yeah, this urn fight super crucial for both teams. You see Lord NM waiting, the Warp Stone and combo, both good to go. Billy the first one in. Who's he going to go for? He goes for Cool Cheese in the back, instantly takes him out with the 8 of hydration. So quick execute, but it was not the target you wanted. So far, Bunny with Clock on the receiving end. Tanner can't get away. The onslaught of focus fire from Sneaky Golem really hitting, but so is Arctic in the back. Jin's Mark stacking up on multiple people. Hydration, though, doesn't care. Finds Lash off near the urn turn-in, and so far, so good for Sneaky Golem. A little bit wounded, but way ahead in actual kills.
Yeah, big power splash there by Xeno. Tornadoing in aggro. Super aggressive move here. Does have that debuff remover, so no respect being given here by the Jin, and the urn walked away during that time. So it's a good fight for Sneaky Golem, but there's not going to be an urn price for it, as Mirage wants to continue this engagement, feeling really confident with that debuff remover in hand, to the point of now diving under this Guardian. Tornado down. This could be a little bit risky.
Yeah, and I mean, overall, you get some kills there, so it's plus benefit for Sneaky Golem. It is not the overall win they're looking for, because, you know, they abandoned the urn.
They were behind, though, so that's a pretty big soul swing, right? They were behind a few thousand in that fight from before that fight, and now they're up 1K, so it's a good start. And now they have urn control as well. So I think this has kind of turned the tempo of the game. Just a few of those kills coming in, and nice power slash from Xeno.
I think the scary thing here, if you're Bunny with Clock, is that when you lose early urn control versus a Doorman team, the odds that the urn just gets turned in without you being able to do much about it is pretty high. Like, Doorman gives you a lot of options, but all right, fight here. Just pull Billy off the rooftops with the combo. Swap coming in thereafter, and still not enough to clear out Tanner. Xeno, Shout Transformation, use Power Slash in. Gibbs just getting ripped apart from afar. Final Yamato right click. Gonna seal the deal. 3 clean kills here from Sneaky Golem. And they have urn control, going to be an urn turn in on top. And Jake, that is the first definitive advantage we've seen in this game.
This is the exact fight you want on Xeno, right? Being able to tank the engagement, combos going in, you're able to just pump damage, getting a couple kills with the ulti to extend Shadow Transformation. And that one was really decisive. Bunny the clock, going to be hurting for that. An attempt on the other side of the map is now AVG. Might get caught up in this engagement. He's just been farming up, getting this recovery game so far, and I think he's going to be happy to continue to do that, but tethered by Billy now, and yeah, Wraith dead to rights. Once that Billy chain comes in, it's just no way out.
That's an 18k Yamato, Jake. I mean, yeah, it's an 18k Warden on the other side.
True.
But
I feel like the Yamato right now, though, with the power of the ulti, is just uncontrollable. You know, no matter how farmed you are on this Warden, if you get comboed down or like lifted and everyone's just on top of you, you don't quite get the ult off, it gets interrupted. Like, there's a lot of ways this farmed Warden just won't feel as dominant in the fight, where Yamato, as long as she presses that ult, man, you're gonna have problems. And there's not really like a hard lockdown way to stop her from ulting. It's just not realistic on the Bunny with Clock draft. They're gonna need curses to accomplish it.
Between the two, if you had to choose, I want one of these heroes farmed on my team. And while arguably Yamato's gotten a little bit weaker in recent times and Warden's gotten a little bit better, I still think you'd rather be the team with Yamato in this situation. It is definitely better. The big thing that is a little bit worrying still for Sneaky Golem is that AVG just had a hell of a bad time. Like, 4 deaths, only 2 assists, so he hasn't been in team fights, so he has been isolated while just trying to effectively mind his own business and get farm here in the side lane. Now, Warden versus Wraith in the side lane, this is actually the pacifism lane because neither are really going to be trying to make plays on each other in all likelihood, but into the middle, you have a little bit more action here. Nox Nostra coming out of Aiden. But for the most part, it's more of a zoning Nox Nostra here, Jake.
They're chasing deep. They do get the swap in on the Shiv. The damage is good. A lot of players here in the mid lane for Bunny with Clock. And they burn down Rocker on the Shiv, disrespecting that damage deferral passive. It does give urn control over to Sneaky Golem, but that's a nice kill to be finding. Hydration. Ooh, has that extended duration. That's a really nice pickup here for that charge and the first kill both. I mean, just a lot of stall and delay in the team fight. A lot of stun control to be able to burst down some of these frontliners. Maybe a setup for the Mo or to follow up. There's constantly kind of a lot of stuns in general on the Sneaky Golem draft.
They're waiting for Door. Well, you actually see the Zerbs he's spamming like Door on cooldown, Door on cooldown. But they're not going to take this urn fight straight up. They're going to look to be a little bit, you know, to their namesake.
Oh,
sneaky with the Door as okay, you know, a little bit of vertically challenged gameplay coming here from Hydration. Just put the Door down the other way and they sneak it.
Wow. Okay, this is the new Kelvin, man. This is like, what do you do about that? He's even off the air. It's just a counter push on the mid walker though. And if they could kill mid walker, this would be nice. Mo, Lord of them is actually doing really nice, I think, to tank this. I don't know that they're going to be able to kill him. Okay, they do. Okay, they just have ridiculous damage. What am I saying? In the tornado, 5v1. Mid walker is down, but both of the side lanes are being pushed right now. So there's a big decision here for Bunny with Clock. What are they going to do? They're going to defend. And the Wraith lane gets bullied away. Of course, the threat of rotations in is too scary for AVG there. But the other side lane walker is going down. This is going to come down to a big fight. Poppy Pop gets the ult off the pin. It's just not quite enough, though. He does get the last stand off. And so that forces Hydration out of this fight so incredibly close. But it's enough to kill Xeno, and that's a big kill. You trade a walker and you kill the most farm hero on the enemy team. I think this is a winning fight here for Bunny with Clock, but now they need to find more.
Well, Zerbsy with the hotel guest puts Aiden off the battlefield for a little bit. Still not looking good for the Doorman here. I mean, Doorman, the most slippery hero in the game at times, depending on where the door is. But this is going to be tested here. Zerbsy, enemies all around. And it's looking like he's about to check out this time around as he gets caught at the end by Cool Cheese. So you get the final kill on the Doorman. That is your big threat for contesting mid-boss if you go for it. But Bunny with Clock not looking like they're all too interested in going for the mid play. I gotta tell you, Jake, if this was EU, they're in. EU's
That's
all
true.
really
especially
big.
with no Yamato ult. I kind of would have liked it there, but you know, it's such a big risk. And in a best of one, I feel like neither of these teams wants to really take a big gamble, right? Maybe you shouldn't be scared to. Maybe there's something to be said about, you know, being willing to take those risks. As another doubles take comes in both teams happily just kind of farming it up on their side of the map. I mean, then souls-wise, this game is about as even as it comes, man. Both teams, I feel like NA has built a very stable game style where we see a lot of times there's a bit of a stalemate here in the mid game. Neither team really wants to force anything. Both are very ready for the opponent to come onto their side of the map. So it ends up just being a little bit of box running.
Jake, there's a really big loss here, though, for Bunny with Clock, is that AVG took out some loans, made some good investments, and AVG's right back into it. AVG was behind the game, and okay, in
What a
off
combo.
the door, man.
Oh
into
my
the
God.
low combo. Cool Cheese just was the victim of one of the biggest crimes I've ever seen.
Oh
Oh.
my God, they're just in and out. Shiv is still in, but he's tanky. He's full rage. This could turn into a big overextension now. Bunny with Clock. One down to second down already. Shiv still healthy. Doesn't have that maxed ultimate, so there's not going to be any more executes in this team fight, but AVG is here. Xeno as well, layering in that damage over the top. This time it's Hydration, one of the least farm heroes in the game, and he's the one cleaning up the side lane. Now AVG coming to the fight, and we really feel the impact.
Jake, it's all fun and games till a door opens up behind you and a mole comes out and beats you to an inch of your life. That's one of the better engages we've seen, really taking advantage of both Mo and Doorman, giving Sneaky Golem more room on the map. You just look here, just immediately converted into taking the jungle, taking more space, getting a little bit ahead soul-wise. Still not enough, though, to go for mid.
Yeah, that'll be a nice victory, and it definitely shows a threatening combo now that you're really gonna have to worry about. Like, how do you counterplay this, right? Like Mo waiting on the other side of a door to just combo you, somebody else following up with the damage. I mean, Zerbzy on the doorman now, just anywhere he goes on the map, you really got to respect it because he could just have a door with an entire team ready to be pouring out.
Yeah, it's scary. And in the draft, you're kind of wondering, going, okay, hey, you don't have a Bebop, you don't have a Holiday, you don't have a Paradox. What are you going to do? Well, we found the engage option, and it's pretty effective, as it turns out.
Nice,
But
yeah. Double
you
buff
can't- you have
claimed
to
as
get
well.
Urn. If you're buying with Clock, you can't give up Urn control here. You actually cannot let Sneaky Golem just get the Urn. You need to contest the pickup, but I don't know if they are, Jake. Okay, the Urn is picked up, and they're going in. Bunny with Clock, looking for the engage, off the swap. Is this going to be good enough? They take down Lord NM immediately as Billy goes to town.
Lash, big death slam over the top. Does get somebody knocked down. Now, Baroness Hotel being deployed by Doorman. Warden's starting to run out, though, and Sneaky Golem are still alive. They're still fighting this one. Wraith pushing the other side of the map, but he's equalizing. Xeno still has ulti. Like, Xeno is strong in this fight. This one is far from over. Billy continuing to push the offense here. Pops the ulti as well. Xeno's getting incredibly low now. Forced to pop the Shadow Transform. Is low, and it's Billy now holding the front line, but Xeno getting those big power slashes in. Billy has to just back out of this engagement. Looking for some kind of a last hit to maintain. He doesn't get that Healbane buff here. Aiden, though, could clean this one up. He's still healthy relatively. Xeno just barely on a sliver of HP. It's not going to be enough. And Mina, just the perfect hero in this kind of a team fight. Takes a big hit from Shiv, and what? Just gets his head blown off.
That was scary. I mean, both could have gotten bursted down there. But yeah, you got, okay, Mirage is over it in, wants a piece of rocker, and as good as Shiv is, durable as this, it's not going to survive in that moment. Lord M, though, back into the fray, picks off one towards the end. This has turned into absolute pandemonium on both sides. Zerbzy, though, falling towards the end. AVG, back alive. Same with Lord NM. Both teams trading out pretty evenly. As that goes on, 2 walkers still up for Sneaky Golem, 2 up for Bunny with Clock, and neither team, Jake, as the dust settles, with enough of an edge to go mid bosses, is 138k and 138k. The one thing you do get if you're Bunny with Clock is you do get Urn Control, which stops some of the Doorman plays that Sneaky Golem wanted to get.
Yeah, and I think in general, I think it is a winning fight, especially one that Arctic profits on hugely. He just picks up the inhib. So he's got Ricochet, inhib, Toxic. I mean, this Mirage, like, cannot be allowed to bring out DPS in the fights. I feel like Sneaky Golem must kill Mirage in the fights, and if this comes down to a spot where both teams' gun carries are free farming, I don't think that's good at all for Sneaky Golem. The lift delays the Urn drop, but Warden just cleans it up afterwards. Xeno into this fight too, and now we got another major team fight back to back, both teams doubling down. Xeno's in from behind, big power slash hitting. Still has that
Warden's
ulti as
getting
well,
crushed.
but they're routed, they're running, they're just trying to get out of this one, but Sneaky Golem are on the chase. They have no intention of backing down out of this one. There's Mo combo as well on the cards. AVG
so
over
low.
the top.
This is a
Dives
shit
in now.
playground if Rocker can get in this position. He's taken down one. He's got the knives out. Aiden is down. Bunny of Clock is low HP across the board. The full cleanup is going the way of Sneaky Golem. So you get the Urn, but you lose the war. Coming on in now for Bunny with Clock. And you take a look at this. If you're Sneaky Golem,
Mid boss.
do you go mid? You got to go mid off this opportunity. You're not going to get a better chance.
And Xeno's been doing so well on this Yamato. He's not overcommitting, forcing the ult early. He's living long into this fights now, and the fact that he holds onto this ulti means I feel like a contest is almost impossible here for Bunny with Clock. They might be forced to go for it. Hydration immediately preempts it though, swarms into that stair room, attacks Arctic, wants to deny this Mirage, takes a lot of damage for it, but doing God's work, and it gets a triple rejuve for Sneaky Golem. Hydration is going to go down, but will they be able to find Arctic as well off the back of this? That would be a well worth it death.
They're getting him
To drop
He's
a
too
crystal.
Low. Yeah,
and yeah, he is going to get cleaned up. Then now, just with that one kill coming off of the mid boss, I really think there's a huge push to be had here. Sneaky Golem could be seeing their first appearance in the money match for quite some time.
It's looking good. They only lose one rejuve in the aftermath of the mid-boss fight. 2 walkers are on the menu. Not easy fights to defend here for Bunny with Clock. I think you're being economical here for Sneaky Golem. You still focus on the right walker first. Mid-walker is actually very scary to go after, even when you have rejuves. Is probably the hardest objective to go for in the game, even more so than the base itself, is just how it's worked out. But one thing you can do here for Sneaky Golem, you establish full dominance over the jungle, you take enemy sinners, you push up your waves, and then when the other team has too much to give up, that's when you bring it all down on the right walker or mid if you've got a few picks at that point.
I like the way Sneaky Golem, though, they're prioritizing them farm on the map first, right? They still have a lot of time on this rejuve. They're going to be able to clean up most of the map. AVG, curious if he buys into Merkmag here. I feel like Merkmag Leech for Wraith, it's going to be a while for that Leech, but Leech is going to be a pretty big game changer here in the ability to stand toe-to-toe with some of these heavier frontliners that Bunny with Clock have running you down. I think Aiden is also going to reach a point in the game where finding burst kills gets more and more difficult. I mean, a lot of spirit resilience is coming out, especially for Sneaky Golem on their key damage dealing carries that you really want to be bursting down first as Mina.
I mean, the problem for Mina is that to be relevant as Mina, you have to be rich over the rest of the game. If Aiden was at 40k right now, you can still burst down anyone you can want. You can look at Doorman and kill him with a wink. At 25k, you're not that level of threat. So the farm curve is kind of past Aiden by a little bit here, and it means Mina is not as scary as she otherwise would be. Also, in terms of financial recovery stories, AVG is a massive threat now at 35k. Caught up to Zeno, Jake. I mean, there's a point in this game where Zeno was at 12k and AVG was at like 7k. And then later on, it was like AVG at 11k, Zeno at 18k. So the amount of work AVG has done to get back into this game farm-wise is really paying off. And you're going to get the uncontested earn to put yourself even further ahead.
Yeah, he's been hustling, that's for sure. Earn pickup is big. You still have that one last crystal as Shiv dies once, might be dying again, and hold on, Mo's here too, so this could be actually a big feed from Sneaky Golem. Bunny the Clock bring numbers. Pashbop is traded by Average in the chaos, and Sneaky Golem also coming into this fight. They're not backing down. They're not letting Rocker die for free.
They're getting
a couple nice punishes as well. And yeah, the mid walker is a nice one to find. Now an opportunity for Zeno to collapse on the side lane. This should be all walkers crumbling. Without Pashbop, I feel like fighting is so difficult here.
I mean, if you're Bunny with Clock, you can't really defend this. And I mean, the scary part here is if you feed kills towards the end, you're gonna lose first stage Patron, but they are committed. And Sneaky Golem working around the outskirts. Here we go. Seismic Slam up and over for Hydration. Arctic's able to take down one at the start of the fight. Hydration, charge from the back. Cool Cheese super low, taken for a ride. Zeno in on the finish. 2 down for both teams here so far. Walker's still alive. A reasonable defense thus far for Bunny with Clock, despite the pincer from Sneaky Golem. And a lot of this, I think it's just Arctic. He's been pounding the damage, Jake.
Yeah, he's healthy, man. He's swarming in now. Zeno low. May have to just ulti just to live, but I don't know if he's going to get out of this. The damage is good. Mirage willing to stand toe-to-toe. The lifesteal is keeping Zeno alive. Tanner finds Zerbzy, though, and with the help of Mina coming in, the proc from Mirage finishes it off, and that turns into a really crucial fight. I mean, Sneaky Golem still have a pretty big lead, but now about 30 seconds for some uncontested farm on the map. But the fact that lanes are so bad against them kind of minimizes the win for Bunny with Clock.
I mean, that's wild. The Sneaky Golem went in, all players up, had a rejuve in the bank, and they walk away. Not only do they not get the walker, they don't even really damage the walker there, so that is ridiculous. However, Mina caught from behind. It's Abrams in on the charge. Sanguine Retreater, no, you are incredibly wounded. But looking at the map, there's going to be a Mina escape.
Average down, and a big bag goes the way of the opposition. Rocker kills Arctic, though. Got greedy. Looked for that bag. Now the combo on the Lash in the back line. Debuff Remover keeps him alive for the moment. Warden ulti popped as well, but Rocker's no cares, man. He's diving forward. Execute does miss. It's not able to get that threshold onto Lash, who is ticking and bleeding. But man, this is turning into an absolute bar brawl, ZP.
Yeah, I would prefer the term slop fest to an extent towards that, because you got kill into kill into kill. And the rhyme or reason is, yo, get back in the fight, get on zip, bro. Let's get back into it. And okay, the dust settles. And Bunny with Clock, I think they're at one point they were down as much as 30k. Now that difference is a mere 13k. So they've kind of, you think about it here, Jake. They defend their right walker. They even up the souls after the mid boss. All in all, they gained ground back after the rejuve went away. And that's not the easiest thing to do. So you got to give a lot of credit to Bunny with Clock. I just wonder how long they can stick with this, because even though they've been able to focus down AVG pretty effectively in some of these fights, when I look at how these teams are going to perform late game, I just think the late game gets worse and worse for Bunny with Clock relative to the Sneaky Golem.
Yeah, I feel like almost it's pretty much everyone but the Mo is going to scale into a carry. And if Mo gets something like an unstoppable this game and just like hard commits on one person in the team fight, I feel like that's just good enough for Mo. And then, I mean, even Hydration, he's going to get harder and harder to bring down as the game progresses. I mean, there's a lot of powerful items you can get. The healing tempo is a little bit ridiculous on Abrams, right? In terms of the ability to go extremely deep into these fights and stay alive despite things like, a Warden on top of you or Mirage pumping in the damage.
I think Mirage is the key here, though. For Bunny with Clock, you need to give Arctic enough room that he stays alive, but also has enough uptime to get max value off Jin's mark, off the ricochet. And arguably, I mean, positioning-wise for Sneaky Golem, you can't have people be so close together that ricochet is getting max value. Ideally, you need a dive onto the Mirage, or even better, I mean, imagine a Doorman play where you just open up with the combo on the Mirage and kill him mid-combo. Like, that is the ultimate opening for Sneaky Golem, where Bunny with Clock would effectively have no outs left in the team fight if it started that way.
Yeah, I do agree. Like, if this Mirage goes down, I think Warden is not going to be able to solo carry the team fight. Conversely, I feel like if AVG goes down, it's not the end of the world. I think Sneaky Golem have better options down the carries. Leech is going to, allow Arctic to sustain longer into the fights, and if you fail to get the kill on him, he's going to be right back into it with no downtime. But I think both teams recognize this next team fight, mid-boss respawning, could be decisive, could be the entire game riding on it. And Sneaky Golem, for the lead they've developed, it doesn't mean much at this point in the game. It comes down to the execution out. It comes down to who can find each other first. And so the game of cat and mouse here in the Deadlock late game begins.
I don't love this. Going for Earn right now, this is going to be a signal for Bunny with Clock. You engage. You absolutely engage right now. You know the motto is there. You fight. Do they catch anyone, though, is the question. They're chasing on forward. We see Tanner leading the way.
No catch.
Yeah.
Hydration was waiting. Oh, they might just into mid-boss here. I kind of like it. Xeno's not ready for this fight. And Bunny with Clock, they're willing to gamble this still, but if Xeno can get there, this could be problematic.
Jake, you're doing this for Storman. Like, Zerbzy right now could make the play of his life. Here we go. Doorman coming down off the contest. We got the Doorman cam here on the left. Who's going for a ride in on the luggage cart? The rejuve is down. Tanner and Cool Cheese pick up all three rejuves. But is the punish now going to be here for Sneaky Golem in here on the fight? One rejuve gone. It's Cool Cheese immediately hitting the ground. Rocker, though, under focus fire, getting super low as we see the Mirage pumping the damage. But Arctic's nearly low off this damage pump. AVG taken on down. In through the door we go. Sneaky Golem playing around it with care. This door gonna get slammed in the face. He lets Yamato walk through and then just closes off the escape.
They have to back out of this one. There's no fight left to be had. And Rocker now low HP, trying to find some sort of crystal trade, but Kochi is still healthy on the Paradox, not scared to take this fight. And even with the life buff, Shiv surely in the wrong neighborhood right now. Does get that DB, which is actually a nice thing to have, but I still think Shiv, if he could get away, this would be huge. I mean, this would be a big find at the same time. Poshpop is seriously fast, man. Warp speed running him down on this Warden, but it seems like the criminal may have escaped for the moment. Oh, wait, wrong neighborhood?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yo, this has turned into a stealth escape mission game for Rocker right now.
Honestly, the life buff is paying big dividends here. Like, he would have been seriously low without that life buff. And in the end, it's a free earn. It's 2 crystals coming out of the mid fight, and Bunny and the Clock are right back in the driver's seat. Now it's their turn to look to maybe try and close out this last walker, as multiple players already pushing it down.
All right. Last walker in contest here for Sneaky Golem. And, you think back to it, Bunny with Clock was able to defend their walker with 1 rejuve left. And Sneaky Golem here, Jake's decide, we're not doing that. Not doing that. We're just, you can have it. It's not
at this point
worth
in the game,
bad team fight.
The walker is just like not going to defend you enough, right? The walker is just going to get bursted down, and then you're going to be caught in a compromising position against 2 rejuve crystals. It's just such an expensive proposition. Bunny with Clock, though, they're waiting any opportunity to pounce. And the danger now for Sneaky Golem is the lead could really get out of control. I mean, if you let Bunny with Clock just hard farm, did Poshpop just buy Juggernaut and Spellslinger? That is disgusting. He's dropped 10k souls.
Yeah, I think they may have been both the bot. I don't think it was a sell and then a buy, but
it could be. It could be. We'll have to check the UI is a little misleading at times in that particular interaction. But he is 50k souls Warden, so maybe we're talking a little bit too much about this Mirage. With 50k souls, Warden might just be back in that conversation where you're not Gun Warden, you're not Spirit Warden, you're everything Warden at this point.
He is everything Warden right now. You look
look at his item. He's got monster in both, right? So
if anything, it's more Spirit Vitality than Gun. I mean, you got Spell Slinger at the very end, but it's not as heavy on the gun focus. You're a 5k HP Warden with Leech. You're more I Exist Warden.
I mean, he is a beaming objectives. Like, fighting into this looks super scary. Shrine's starting to go down. Sneaky Golem, they need to answer this. They need to find some way back into this game. This is supposed to be their week. This is supposed to be their chance to come back and get its fight in the money match. Bunny with Clock, Shrines dropping. It's just the Patron now standing between them and the money match. And with still a bit more time in the region, here comes the lash. Big old over the top. It's huge. Gets absolutely everybody. What the hell? Sneaky Golem's trying to get out of this. 3 players low, 3 players down. The Warden feasting upon them.
This could be it here, Jake. You got 3 down. The respawn, that's not going to do anything for you. But with Clock, you got a full 6. You got 2 rejuves. You got a ticket to the money match ready to go. New and improved they may be. Sneaky Golem still not able to get over the hump. Second stage Patron coming on down. Bunny with Clock, they're absolutely not going to be leaving this time around. The Patron, it's getting melted. And Bunny with Clock, we will see you in the money match once more against Melee Creeps.
Man, Gibbs with the unstopped Lashel just absolutely collapsed Sneaky Golem in their own house, in their own base. And once again, it's going to be Bunny with Clock going into the money match, taking on the Melee Creeps. And they're playing with a vengeance today, ZP. They had to work a pretty scary comeback, right? At times, like, there were moments where it really felt like Sneaky Golem were going to close this one out. They had, like, the better advantage, but the team fights, the late games play, and then the willingness to just all in commit there at the end of the game. Bunny with Clock really well played, a well-deserved victory here in our challenger match.
Congratulations to BWC Bunny with Clock, aka Rabbits with Rolexes, taking our challengers matchup. They move on to play a very familiar foe. What is this, 4 matches in a row? Let's take a look though at how they got there. Poshy Pop was the MVP in last week's NA Challenger. Does he get your award this time around, ZP, or who did you have eyes on?
I think it's got to be Arctic. I think you look at some of these team fights where Sneaky Golem started with such an incredible edge, and it's just like, wait, they're losing the fight. Wait, their HP is going down. And then we go to Arctic is like, oh, I now understand. I think Arctic was really the backbone that kept them in some of these fights. Like, yeah, Gibbs had some good plays. Tanner's had some good moments, but all of it is for naught if you don't have a Mirage just pumping damage. And here's
this play. This play is so good, actually.
Here we go.
It's like Cool Cheese, like, all right, I guess I went to the wrong neighborhood.
And the quick escape, like you delete the evidence after. It's like,
ooh, yeah,
boom, big slam.
this murder will self-destruct.
That's disgusting, man. They just got, that was a 5-man Lashel. That's crazy. At this level of play, the 5-man Lashel, you can't be letting that happen to you.
Hoot's been telling people it's all about the lash right now. Well done to our NA brethren. They are keeping pace with our friends from EU. ZP, I gotta think that Sneaky Golem isn't done roster shuffling, or do you think they'll actually give it 2 weeks before making a move?
Look, I wouldn't bet anything. I mean, this is a team that's made roster changes even after winning, and I think they are desperate to beat the slump. So they may make some changes, or maybe they'll be like, this is pretty close. I think the problem is when you look at how this game went, it really was that big mistake where they prioritized earn. And then you had BWC go down the middle. They didn't get a pick there, but they pushed up middle lane and they still saw the Amato as away, and that they felt gave them the opportunity to go mid. They go mid and they get 3 rejuves. The contest wasn't there in time for Sneaky Golem. That was the critical mistake that cost them the game. And is that a roster thing? I don't know. I just think it was a bad call made by Sneaky Golem.
Not heads up gameplay there. Field IQ needs to be stepped up between now and episode 19, by the way, which is just 6 days away. Mark your calendar, because we're hitting you every single Wednesday once we return in January, right, guys? So, Jake, we have a big matchup to go. Do we need to hand out the MVP?
I mean, surely we got to. I think it's honestly kind of a tough conversation. Like, I wouldn't really know who to give it to necessarily. I'm maybe curious to see. I don't know if we have the stat screen
Arctic
yet.
was a beast. We're trying to get the stats. That's what we're waiting on right now.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
I kind of leave it to Prod because I feel like both the carriers had good games. I think Pashi and Arctic both had very solid games throughout the game. Laning phase, maybe a little bit decisively better from the Warden as opposed to AVG on the Wraith on the other side. But yeah, both teams actually played this game really well. I thought some innovative strategies, good execution. And then I think it did come down to like these big team fight choices, like you said in the late game, the choice to go for that Urn, while not terrible in a vacuum, like forcing Urn is good when you have the lead. The fact that Bunny with Clock are saying, hey, you're out of position, I'm just going to call your bluff and immediately int the mid boss was a great play. And that decisive team fight really is what sealed the game for them.
We've got a best of 3 coming up in your NA Grand Finals. It features the Melee Creep, Scout, DMB, Ido, Dude, John, and Saya ready to take the stage next. We're just waiting on a little MVP highlight reel for you, and then we will keep the show rolling. A big shout out to all the gifted, all of the primers that have come in tonight. We're now up over 800 subs over on twitch.tv, and the YouTube channel continues to pop off. 1,238 people viewing right now over on youtube.com/Deadlock Night Shift. Put an @ in front of the Deadlock Night Shift. It'll take you to the right place. ZP, final thoughts here on our opening matchup.
Final thoughts are that, Sneaky Golem, they've gotten, I think, better in the last few weeks. Like, they had a lot of really good looks here today, a lot of things that went their way. And Bunny with Clock was able to match them every step of the way, including, to me, we talked about the game-winning play. My final thought to look at in terms of Masterclass is Sneaky Golem has one rejuve. They're pushing the right Walker as a team, and they're not able to get it or even really damage it. Bunny with Clock's team play and ability to defend objectives was fantastic, and we'll see if they can channel that versus Melee Creeps in the money match.
Let's take a look here at our bracket where we're at. Congratulations to Abrahams, who walked away with a victory, their 5th in a row for EU. They are clearly head and shoulders above the rest of the competition. Leviathan making it to another grand final. And Melee Creeps will now face off against Bunny with Clock in another NA grand final matchup. Sneaky Golem still looking for answers as they're playing catch up on the most recent patch. One more match to go, and you guys can donate to the prize money. Scroll down right below the Twitch video, hit that donate button, and your money goes directly to the players. We're going to break. We come back. It's time to crown an NA champ.